The Smok Nord. The Nord was sent to me for a review from vapesourcing.com. This is a really cool looking pod device from Smok that you would think would be designed for tight draw vaping, but it isn't. So let's talk about it. Has 1100 milliamp hour battery, 3 mil capacity, wattage of 10 to 15 watts, 94 millimeters tall, 30 millimeters wide, 18.8 millimeters thick, and 80 grams in weight. It comes in 13 colors and you can get it for about $26.90. In the box you get the Nord device with a pod, a 0.6 ohm mesh coil, 1.4 ohm regular coil, USB cable, and a user manual. So Smok always does a really good job with their designs. There have been some bad ones here and there, but for the most part, I think their products look really good. And the Nord looks nice and modern to me. And this little thing has some heft to it. I wasn't expecting it to be as heavy as it is. It's not so heavy that it's bad or anything like that. It actually makes the Nord feel durable and higher quality. The mouthpiece has a duckbill design, which is comfortable to use, and the airflow hole in the mouthpiece is fairly big, so you can get plenty of airflow through here. It is button activated. Some people like draw activated and some like button. I like both, and I think there are pros and cons to both, but this one is button activated for you button lovers out there. 5 clicks turns it on and 5 clicks turns it off, so that's a nice feature for anyone who likes to make sure that their devices are off before throwing them in a bag or something. The button has a nice sharp click to it. Just hold it down and take a hit. Instead of the pod being one single piece that you use and throw away, you reuse the pod, but replace the coils that go inside of it. So technically, I guess this isn't a pod system. It's a tank system that looks like a pod system, but I'm still going to call it a pod system. So you get one pod in the kit and 2 replacement coils. I really like that Smok designed the pod this way. It's much less waste, and it makes buying coils more affordable. There are 2 sizes of pods available depending on where you live. For people in the EU dealing with TPD restrictions, there's a 2 mil pod, and for everyone else, there's a 3 mil pod. For a device of this size, the 3 mil tank seems perfect, just to keep the overall size to a minimum. But if you're vaping the mesh coils with low nicotine, you can get through 3 mils pretty quick. To fill it up, there's a little rubber plug on the side. Pop it out and fill it up. Make sure the plug is in tight and then drop it into the device. On a new coil, you want to wait a few minutes to let the liquid soak in before taking a hit. And there's also this e-liquid window so that you can see how much liquid is in the tank. The little window is okay, but I think that they should have put a little more thought into it. You can only see the liquid when it's all the way full. Yeah, you can tilt it up on its side or upside down, but it's still a little hard to tell how much liquid is in there. It's not a big deal because you can pull the pod out if you really want to see inside, but I think if they're going to include a liquid window, it should be more useful. I have noticed that there's a little bit of leaking with the pod. After finishing up a tank, I'll pull the pod out and find e-juice all over the inside of the device. It's not pouring out or anything, but you will want to wipe it down. So Smok makes 4 different coil heads for the Nord. One is the Nord Mesh, which is a 0.6 ohm mesh coil. This coil comes with the kit. This one is designed for big hits and flavor, so you won't be using high nicotine e-liquid with this one. That mesh also makes it fire fast. It's perfect for sub-ohm vaping. This coil head has a max wattage of 25 watts, but the device can only push a max of 15 watts, so that's what you'll get. But man, you can get some clouds through this coil head. It's almost like using a high wattage device. It's crazy. And the flavor is very good out of this. The other coil that comes with the kit is the Nord regular coil, which is a 1.4 ohm coil head with a maximum of 12 watts. This one decreases the wattage and reduces the airflow. So this one is for people looking for a tighter draw or for people using high levels of nicotine, although I don't think the draw is tight enough for mouth to lung hits. It's more of a restricted lung hit. The flavor also isn't all that great. It's okay, but nothing compared to the mesh coil. And there are 2 other coil heads that you can buy that don't come in the kit. One is a 0.8 ohm mesh coil, so this one is somewhere in the middle of the other 2 coils. It's designed for bigger mouth to lung hits and for more flavor than the regular coil. The max wattage of that coil is 16 watts, so you'd be getting the max power that the Nord can give you, which is 15 watts. The other optional coil is the 1.4 ohm ceramic coil. I didn't get that one to try, so I can't say much about it, but it probably has better flavor than the regular coil, but not as good a flavor as the mesh coil, and it probably lasts longer than the regular coil too. Since it's a 1.4 ohm coil head, basic Ohm's law tells us that this has a max wattage of 12 watts. The coils need to go in a certain way, which is easy to figure out. The flat sides match up to the flat sides on the pod. It's press fit, so you just push it in and you're good to go. The Nord has an internal 1100 milliamp hour battery installed, which is a pretty big battery for a pod device. Battery life will depend on what you're running through it, of course. If you're running high nicotine and vaping less throughout the day, you could probably go a few days without charging it. If you vape low nicotine or 0 nicotine and you're just taking hit after hit, you might have to charge it after 1 or 2 days. But either way, that's a pretty big battery for a pod device. To charge it, you plug the micro USB cable into the bottom of the device, and you can vape the Nord while it's charging, which is always nice. The LED light on the device also indicates battery life. Red is less than 30%, orange is between 30 and 70%, and green is between 70 and 100. If you press 2 clicks on the button, you can quickly see what the charge is. And there are safety protections, short circuit, 8-second cutoff, and low voltage protection. As for airflow, performance, and flavor, the airflow depends on the pod that you use, but even with the 1.4 ohm coil head, it's a loose draw. So if you like really tight draws, you can't get that here. I personally really like tight draws on pod style devices, so in my opinion, I don't think this will satisfy vapors who like mouth to lung hits. With the 0.6 ohm coil, you get a big, loose, and flavorful lung hit. This almost works like a box mod, but packed into the small size of a pod device, and this is where this device really shines. So if you like loose airflow, big clouds, and lots of flavor, this is the coil that you want. So that's it for the Smok Nord. This isn't a tight draw device like you'd think just by looking at it. This is designed for big clouds and big flavor in a tiny setup. The flavor is great, it's nice and small, and it's easy to use. I really like this thing. I got this from vapesourcing.com, so if the Nord sounds like something you're interested in, you can get it from them for $26.90. Alright, thanks for checking out this review, and I'll catch you on the next one.